to QI for an episode which is all about justice. Members of the jury, the just Brian Cox. The judicious Rhys Darby. The judgmental Jason Manford. And the jailbird Alan Davis. Well, in case I nod off during these proceedings, you all know how to catch my attention. It's with a buzzer, and Jason goes. Brian goes.
All rise.
Rhys goes.
Order! Order!
And Alan goes. Excellent. So let's start laying down the law. Describe the rules. Oh, he's free! Escapology.
I'll tell you what, being a copper back then when everyone dressed like I was well easy.
Easy, wasn't it?
I think it might be him. It might be that guy.
I'm going to take this off because the bridge of my nose is rubbing.
Oh, you don't want that.
Oh, my God, it's Alan Davis.
Noel Coward was in a rehearsal when one of the actors was picking his nose. He thought secretly, and Noel shouted, "Wave when you get to the bridge." Anyway, describe the rules on a pirate ship. Rules? Yeah. What sort of rules would they have?
Obviously, they've got a captain.
Yes.
So he's in charge. So I imagine he gets most of the gold and whatever they find.
Well, oddly enough, now, they had two senior officers, the captain and the quartermaster. And the captain could be vetoed by the quartermaster on all matters except battle. Except rules of engagement when fighting. And they had strong laws. And the quartermaster was, he was about how much they divvied out, including he decided how much the captain got. The captain had no special quarters. He didn't have a, wonderful room such as you imagine in movies. So it's not exactly hierarchical. It's kind of a rule of two, the quartermaster and the captain. Otherwise, it was more or less a democracy in a strange sort of way, but with strict rules. For example, in Captain Bartholomew Roberts' ship, the Fortune, there was no gambling. It was like a boarding school. No smuggling girls into the dorm. No playing music on a Sunday. And lights out at 8 o'clock sharp in the evening.
It's rubbish being a pirate.
I know. It's not quite what you imagine.
My dad, the captain. That's rubbish.
But where are you going to smuggle these girls from, anyway?
That's true.
Do you rescue one from the sea? No.
When it came to women aboard, the articles of Captain George Lowther, who was a famous pirate of his day, said, "If at any time you meet with a prudent woman, that man that offers to meddle with her, without her consent, shall suffer present death." So meddling with a prudent woman without her consent got you death. So they really were very strict with each other.
So meddling was rape, really?
Well, I think essentially we're talking about rape.
That lost its meaning by the time Scooby-Doo came on.
Exactly. Why you pesky kids haven't meddled?
Notorious gang rapists.
That's just terrible. I'm ashamed of you.
Why is the pirate voice similar to the farmer's voice? Why? Is there something... Arr! Get off my land! There's
one man responsible.
Right.
Do you know who it is?
It'll be a film actor.
Yes.
Oh, OK.
Treasure Island?
He played in a great performance of Treasure Island. And in fact, Tony Hancock, the great comedian, he first started out as an impersonator of this actor.
Lawton?
No, not quite as well known as Lawton. In his own day, he was very, very well known, but now less well known.
Anybody?
We've mentioned on QI before.
Hang on a minute.
The chances of Alan remembering it are...
Someone in the front row saying, "You've done this!" This was on Dave on Tuesday. New facts.
Yeah, well, it was Robert Newton, anyway.
Robert Newton.
Thank you, yes. Robert Newton is the right answer, but it doesn't count because we've had it before. There we are.
Prowse almost did that, didn't he, to Darth Vader? He has a West Country accent, didn't he?
Yes,
and he famously thought that he was going to be used, didn't he?
Yes.
With his West Country accent, he got redone.
I am your father.
Very upset.
I'm your father, and I'm your brother as well.
Darth Vader on a big tractor. Yeah. Trundling down the corridors of the Death Star, chewing a bit of straw.
Darth.
Darth. Mr. Darth to you.
Mr. Darth. It's, yeah, anyway.
You know the skull and crossbone flag?
Yes.
Do they really have that? Because, I mean, that's really giving it
we
away,
definitely
isn't it?
covered that in the last
Oh,
series.
really? I must have missed that.
Alan will tell you all about it.
Go on.
Jolly Roger.
Well, yeah, everyone knows it's called. Or is that a proposition? Maybe later, Alan.
It's been 10 years, Stephen, and I've finally come round to it. It's time for a Jolly Roger.
All right, now, don't take this question personally, Alan. I didn't write this question. All right, OK. Now, what sort of person would say that Alan has a very small penis? I'm sorry?
My wife.
No!
And this is a legal question.
It is very much a legal question, yes.
Oh, OK.
I'll tell you the world we're in. We're in the world of defamation, all right? Let's say I was to write a novel about someone who presented a quiz show called K.I., who was called Simon Dry, and he had a regular sidekick with curly hair who was called Andrew Devons, and had a very small penis. The idea is that he'll never sue, because he'll never say, this is obviously based on me. Because no one will say, it's obviously based on me, because my name's like that, and I've got a small... Oh, hang on. So that's the idea, is that when you want to slander somebody, you put in certain things that they would never admit to. They'd be too embarrassed to say that it's like
Why don't we get away with that as stand-up comedians when someone heckles you and you have a go back and you say something in front of a room of, you know...
Well, it's a kind of understood contract between an audience and a comedian that someone heckles and you go, if I want any shit from you, I'll squeeze your head or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, some stuff.
What's that?
So,
what else would you say? What other things?
Just an example. Give away my best heckle remarks. But what I mean is, if you made a joke heckle, that's not defamatory. Okay. I think that's the point.
Tit for tat doesn't stand up in court, does it?
No, I don't think so, exactly. One defence is the truth. The person does have a small penis. The other is parliamentary privilege. So a member of Parliament can get up and say, Alan Davis, Mr. Speaker, has a small penis. So
Another member of Parliament get up and say, he's a grower, not a shower.
The point is, you couldn't sue either of them because under parliamentary privilege, there's no action that could be taken.
There's increased privilege in peer-reviewed scientific journals as well.
Oh, that's privileged?
Yes, it is to some extent. I could publish a paper reviewed by my peers about your penis, and I would be relatively immune unless I was being malicious about it.
Right. Now, that's the phrase, of course, they use in American defamatory law, is absence of malice. If you can prove absence of malice, then you can say almost anything, which allows...
I like his small penis.
Yeah. That's
it's very, very tiny, but it's wonderful.
Surely, at some point, sarcasm must come in.
Well, there's that, if you can prove that, exactly. So, the other one is good faith. I genuinely thought he had a small penis. I didn't mean it as defamatory. It was said in good faith. That's one thing. The other is opinion. Which is, it was just my opinion. Compared to mine, it's small, OK? Right?
It's a review.
It's a review, exactly.
1 star.
The other is the public interest. The public has a right to know the size of Alan Davis's penis. That might be a defence. The other is consent. He agreed with me about the size of his penis. The other one is vulgar abuse. Surely you didn't believe me when I said you had a small penis. I was just being rude to you. I was not defaming you. It'd be like if I called you, you know, one of the unacceptable taboo swear words. If I called you a motherfucker, you know, it's not defaming you. Whereas if I actually wrote down that I believed you actually incestuously did have sex with your mother, that would be defamatory. So that's the difference.
Not with a penis that size, is it?
That's just going all over the place.
Can we see the evidence? It's all about evidence.
Not from there, it's mine.
Just let me
No, Brian.
Never the first person at home going, I should never have gone HD.
Rise.
Very Thank you. Thank you. There is a...
Is this on BBC Three these days?
So sorry, I'm Brian, I know. Anyway, that's the point. Saying a character isn't very well hung could save you from a libel action, which reality TV format was invented by Charlemagne's father. There's a picture of Charlemagne.
Big Brother?
It's not as well as Big Brother.
All
I will
right.
give you a clue.
Celebrity Big Brother? On Channel 5?
I'm a king, get me out of here.
That will cover it. I can tell you it was presented by Dale Winton.
Supermarket Sweep?
No,
Total Wipeout? What else has he done?
Oh, yeah, you're pretty good. Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I know the workings
Big
of...
fan.
Yeah. You're good on Dale.
Yeah.
You probably don't know who Dale Winton is, do you?
Chap or lady?
Audience, behave. He's a very charming gentleman, Mr. Winton. Well turned out, crisply well turned out gentleman. Very nice man.
Who was his father then?
Well, Charlemagne's father is a good question. Unlikely to have heard of him. I'd be very impressed if you have heard of him. He was Count Pepin the Short, unfortunately. But if you go back to... This is even pre-medieval. This is Dark Ages. If you go back to that time, justice was meted out in all kinds of odd ways. And one of the odd ways, it was a system of testing, which was called an ordeal.
An ordeal.
Ordeal. There were various kinds of ordeal.
So ordeal or no ordeal?
Oh, no. If only with Noel Edmonds we were talking about, then that would do.
Is he a lady or a man?
Is Noel Edmonds? Well, ordeals. This particular ordeal involved two people had a quarrel, and they both had to make the shape of a cross. See? And stay there. I don't know what that's about.
Someone said he's got a small penis.
Are you a real doctor?
It was called Judicium Crucis, the justice of the cross in Latin. And basically, it's a bit like those school punishments where they make you do that, if you ever did that. The one who just dropped his hands first was wrong. And it happened to the Archbishop of Paris with the abbot of Saint Denis. Only they would use champions to do it for them. So they would say, you on my behalf, stand for as long as you can in the cross. And in this case, the Archbishop of Paris won.
It's a pity you have to nominate someone, because if you didn't, you could just pick on old people, couldn't you, in those days, did you know that?
You could have ordeals by tickling. They genuinely had all kinds of ordeals. Ordeals by water, ordeals by fire, and so on. But there is a car game.
Is it that one where you've got to keep your hand on the car? Yeah, and then the last one wins it.
You see?
Yeah.
You do know it.
Yes, I do.
Dale Winton presented, I think on Channel 5, an endurance game show based on a Japanese original called Touch the Truck. That's Dale there.
I'd love to watch that.
That's
Just
him.
loads of people touching a car and then that's it.
Yeah.
For an hour.
For an hour? 81 hours. It's
Well,
because
I'd Sky Plus it and fast forward through it.
it's basically the last one to give up on touching the truck.
But it doesn't do anything, you just stand there.
No, you have to
with your
touch
hand.
it.
Yeah, it's going 80 mile an hour. That's a game show.
You were allowed you were allowed a 10-minute break every 2 hours and 15 minutes every 6 hours.
This is made up, isn't it?
If you-
No one would...
If you fell asleep, you were disqualified, so you had to stay awake. You couldn't just lie on the car with your hand on it, so you had to be consciously touching it. And the idea was the last person left touching it won it. And the winner, you probably want to know all about him, I expect, he won the truck, obviously, and he sold it. In order to raise funds to stand as a political...
Arm surgery.
To stand as a political candidate. He stood for Kingston and Surbiton at the 2001 general election. There was a turnout of 49,093 people, and he secured 54 votes.
Wow. We do it in New Zealand. It's a radio show contest. It quite often happens. Yeah, we're probably the last country still doing it. It's the only way you can get your cars back in New Zealand.
Doing it on radio sounds even weirder to me, I have to say.
Still touching it? They're still touching it?
Do you have to drop
Still touching it?
No, they interview the people who are touching the car. So
Right.
I've got John here. How's it going? Ah, good. I'm still touching it. You know. How many hours now? 7.
Anyway, that's it. That's basically a game show inspired by a Dark Ages... endurance test, yeah. Extraordinary, isn't it? What sentence would you recommend in Jedward Justice?
Life.
I'm feeling very sorry here for Reese. We're giving you all kinds of cultural references that can mean nothing to you. Have you heard of Jedward?
Yeah. Are they judges? They look very young.
I believe Irish. Are they twins?
They're conjoined twin judges.
They're not conjoined.
Well, they've done well, haven't they?
That's the whole thing about us, the whole point of them is they're conjoined.
Are they?
They're conjoined twins, yeah.
No, it looks like they are.
Joyce, come on!
Who has the arm in the middle?
They do look a little strange, I have to say, but that's probably because of the wig business.
No, nothing to do with the wig. It's got nothing to do with it.
But anyway, there really is such a thing as Jedward Justice. This predates these twinsters.
Maybe that's where they got the name from, really.
Oh, I don't think so, really. This is a town which was originally called Jedward, and then it changed its name to Jedburgh. It still exists. Jedburgh, you may have heard of it.
In the northeast.
It is. It's on the borders, in fact. It's a border town, and that's the clue, really. The borders, as you know, suffered throughout history. Incursions and raids from England, raiding through Scotland, stealing, and vice versa. And they were often summarily hanged without a trial, and it was known as Jedward Justice. And our name for that, where someone is especially killed without a trial, is... what word do we use for that?
Oh, lynch mob.
Lynch. Now, where does the word lynch... Why is it called lynch?
I have absolutely no idea.
Well, there's a claim to the origin of the term lynch, which is a man called James Lynch Fitzstephen, who was the mayor of Galway in Ireland, and he hanged his own son from the balcony of his house after convicting him of the murder of a Spanish visitor in 1493. Wow. So that's pretty bold, isn't it?
Wow. That's on a bike.
It's extreme. He learned his lesson. He never did it again. No.
Did you say hang his own son for stealing a bike?
No. No. What did you think I said?
I misheard you because I'm so hungry. I don't know why I can't concentrate when I'm hungry.
Killing a Spaniard.
For killing a Spanish visitor, yes, Spaniard. He killed...
Do you not listen to...
No, he doesn't.
No, I'm starving hungry.
Are you?
And now I can't concentrate because I'm having a blood sugar crash.
I never get called up for jury service and you're hungry in the afternoon. What was it, kill a Spaniard or stole a bike?
It's quite an important difference.
Starving. Can I get an apple?
Where did that come from?
I don't know.
Stole a bike.
Your mind was wandering.
Up, I was thinking about pasta.
When his brain sugar drops, I'm afraid all kinds of weird things start to happen.
Well, has no one got something to eat here? Can we not...
Are you bringing something down?
Here you go, come on.
Thank you very much.
What's that?
Flapjack.
Oh, flapjack!
I
Oh, thank you. Yeah, go on.
Oh, she has them kids.
You got something to eat for Stephen as well?
No, honestly, I'm fine.
When was the bicycle invented? It wasn't invented in 1493, was it? So it's
No,
doubly...
it wasn't. Doubly ridiculous. In fact, questioning Alan's... As if Alan's mind works on logical rails.
You'll be found guilty of that. Stole me bike. You what? I don't know.
I don't even know what it is.
I don't know what it is.
It should be just enough sugar to get your mind to tell the difference between somebody murdering a Spaniard and stealing a bike.
Before the invention of the bike.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
Let's just do the question again. Come on.
No. You don't get away with it that easily. Anyway, moving on. What happened when the biggest miser in the land forgot his reading glasses?
He made an error in which he gave away his fortune or something happened?
No, because he had forgotten his glasses, he wasn't able to sign a document because he couldn't see. So he said, I'll take the document, I'll sign it at home. What might that document have been?
His will, maybe?
His will. Yes. So, there he's got his will. He said, I can't... I'll take it home and sign it at home. He got home.
Died.
Yes.
Oh.
Now, that case, his name was Jennings, and he was very, very rich. And he had quite a lot of family. So there was a case called Jennings v. Jennings, or as the lawyer would say, Jennings and Jennings. And it started in 1798 when he died, and it ended in 1915.
Wow.
Wow.
Why did it end?
The jury all died.
No.
Well, the Jennings died.
No.
Oh, they found his glasses.
Because... died for the same reason that the fictional version of this case that Charles Dickens made famous in his novel Bleak House, Jarndyce versus Jarndyce, which he based exactly on this story, for the same reason. The estate ran out of money. The lawyers had used up every penny of the estate. Doesn't that tell you everything you need to know? And Bleak House, of course, which is one of Dickens' absolute masterpieces, has this court case running through it, Jarndyce versus Jarndyce. And it's been going for dozens of years in Chancery. But he wrote that in 1852. And this Jennings case had been going on for 54 years. And Dickens was little to know that it was to carry on going till the First World War. I mean, it's staggering, isn't it? And all because the man forgot to sign his will. These people were so desperate, so rapacious.
We didn't forget that he died.
Well, anyway, where would you find a precocious toddler, a fertile octogenarian, and a moron in a hurry?
Is that on...
Buckingham Palace.
Oh!
Like Celebrity Big Brother.
Are they calling Lee Evans a moron there? That seems very tough.
He's a precocious toddler, and that...
Oh, I see. Phew! Again, this is in law. A moron in a hurry.
Well, we've all been that.
Yes, we have. These are sort of fictional types of people.
That they use in law.
That they use in law. The most famous one is the man on the Clapham omnibus.
That's to do with advertising.
I.e. what we would call the man... No, it's not. It's just the man in the street.
Oh, I see.
English common law is based on the idea of the reasonable man. What would a reasonable person think? You know, the man on the Clapham omnibus is not stupid, but he's not a professor of astrophysics. He's not a moron in a hurry. He's just an ordinary, sensible citizen. And that is used as a standard by judges. And a moron in a hurry is used as a standard for another kind of problem in law that might come up. It's in the area of passing off. Do you know what I mean by passing
like
off?
logos or something.
Yeah, so
like,
expand.
Almost like false advertising. Or maybe plagiarism.
That's more like it. As it were, product plagiarism.
Yes.
Suppose I brought out something called Boca-Bola, and it was in a can exactly like, with the same lettering and the same patterning.
So would
that
the
would be
moron in
against
a
the
hurry
law. A moron in a hurry probably... Would he notice that?
Got to be careful there, because you've also got people who are not very observant.
Well, there is that.
You know, I mean, that's me.
Are you not an observant person?
Well, yes. When I was in the army, there was an observation trail we had to do, and you had to walk through the bush, and they put all these things that you had to go through and have a look, and then when you came out the other end of the bush, the sergeant would ask you, okay, what sort of things did you see? And I told him I saw 3 things, including the cone, which marked the exit. So it was really just 2 things I saw. And there was 17 things in the bush. And one of those was a tank. But, you know, my excuse was a lot of it was camouflaged.
Yeah! That's good.
But I'm not a moron in a hurry.
No.
Because I took a long time.
A simple moron.
3 times the length of time.
A casual moron,
Yeah.
yes.
So you'd be a fertile octogenarian then? No.
Yes. Well, the fertile octogenarian is a fictitious character that presumes that anyone, even an octogenarian, can parent a child. So they're these kind of archetypes. And
What's the kid? Why is she in a mood?
precocious toddler. Like a fertile octogenarian at the other end of the scale.
Oh, OK.
To be fair, she's not a toddler. She's a bit older than that.
She is. She looks jolly cross, doesn't she? Jolly cross. And finally, why would I encourage a psychopath to eyeball my crotch?
Look at that picture.
Wow. This is one of those that I don't think we want to know the real answer.
No.
It's a nice idea.
Would it release the tension?
Well, I'm afraid we're back in the weird world of the 1960s, and we're in the world of theoretical psychiatry. And it won't surprise you to learn that it was in California there was a psychologist called Paul Bindrim who pioneered nude psychotherapy in 1967 at a nudist resort, and he devised discomforting exercises, one of which was called crotch eyeballing, in which participants were instructed to look at each other's genitals and disclose the sexual experiences they felt most guilty about, while lying naked in a circle with their legs in the air. I'm afraid there was a doctor at Oak Ridge hospital for the criminally insane, a Canadian psychiatrist called Elliot Barker, who did a marathon nude psychotherapy session for criminal psychopaths. These raw, naked, LSD-fueled sessions lasted 11 days.
Wow.
11 days, you give a psychopath LSD, take their clothes off, and...
But see, I believe in evidence-based medicine, so if that can be shown to work, it should be available on the NHS.
I agree.
It doesn't matter.
You're right.
How ridiculous
You're so
it
right.
is.
I, too, am an empiricist like you. You'll be pleased to know that the average rate of recidivism amongst psychopaths is 60%. Amongst those who did that programme, it was 80%.
There we are. Therefore,
we think it's a bad idea. Recidivism.
Oh, I see.
Recidivism is when you do it the crime again. But why don't we try it? Let's get up. Let's all get up and show each other our genitals. Come on. Come on. Come on. There's a lot of people getting cameras out. That's a bit... There is social networking.
He's got a very long telephoto lens as well. It's insulting.
You won't see mine from there. You'll have to come here.
Maybe the audience can take their clothes off as well. You feel good about that?
Yeah, I feel more comfortable.
OK. I hope the BBC lets us show this moment. So, 1, 2, 3...
Trousers off.
Oh dear, we seem to have a technical problem. We're working to fix that as soon as we can. And good, it's fixed now, so let's get straight back to QI. Hopefully we haven't missed anything quite interesting.
That was very good. That went well. I thought that was very, very good. That was very interesting. Very interesting. I can see why they call you Brian Cox now.
Yes. And a blue one is
Yeah,
so
I know.
weird.
All right. Anyway, we've learned a lot about each other and about the audience. Thank you for participating as well, audience. Very kind. It was very interesting. It was very revealing. And talking of revealing...